right? Okay, we're live.
Hey everybody!
It's been a long time since we've done this.
It has been a long time,
Well,
although we do have a history of going live together. So tons of experience doing that, but sorry, we're at a hotel and sometimes there's distractions. Okay, so is that housekeeping? What was that? Okay, so let's get into a little bit about us and maybe why you're watching. And
everyone here is new because this is a new account. If you're watching the replay, go in the comments and tell us where you're watching from, where you're following from. We'd love to get to know you a little bit.
Thanks. And we'll try to keep housekeeping out of here while we're doing this.
So we thought we'd start out by talking about who we are, since none of you know who we are, unless you're our friends, which so some of you do. But.
Some of them might be our friends. We have a couple still here and there.
So Brett and Megan Stubbs, husband and wife. We have 5 kids. We homeschool them. Our kids range from 8 to 17. We've always homeschooled.
Yes.
That's a huge part of our life. Makes our life. Because we spend tons of time together as much as we can doing the things we love. So another thing that makes our life possible in that way, Simon's over here waving,
Yeah, you can.
is Brett works from home. So we're entrepreneurs. So over the years, that's looked a million different ways. So
Yes.
It either means Brett's working for a startup or we have our own startups going on. Yeah. Brett is a developer and also a marketer. So he's worked for lots of companies doing those things.
Yes. So, Megan and I have always homeschooled our kids. We just thought that was really important from the very beginning. When Flynn, he's our oldest, he's 17. When he was 5 years old, we were like, oh, we're going to put him in school.
It just didn't make sense to give him up.
Yeah, Megan was like, he's mine. I don't want to give him up for that long, And so we just kind of changed our life a little bit and changed the way that we live to kind of make that possible. And we even moved states a year later, right? And it was really fun. We lived in Virginia for 8 years. Virginia was awesome to homeschool in, Southeast Virginia. You've got Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, all of that. So for history stuff, it was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so we had our last 2 kids in Virginia and spent 8 years there as a family.
That's right.
And then, what year was it? 2000 what? You'll know.
Okay, yeah. 2018 we moved from there. So we started a company.
For a startup together.
It was a live video shopping platform. So I invented live video comment shopping. So if you've ever done that before, I made it.
Right.
Yeah. So
we left our home in Virginia, took off to do that, spent a whole year working together. That was new territory for us.
In Provo, Utah.
Yes. So we'll share more about something that happened in Provo, Utah. A lot of you are here because what happened in Provo, Utah. We saw something.
Yeah, and we'll explain the background behind that too, actually.
So if you're here for Bigfoot, that's number 3. Question number 3 we'll be talking about.
Yeah. So what's next?
We spent a year in Utah.
Yes, year in Utah.
Then we decided after we were done with our time there, we were going to travel for a year. So we took off.
Should I state that I was watching The Chosen? And
we're big Chosen fans.
That's my favorite show ever. So I was watching The Chosen, and it was when Jesus was talking to Nicodemus on the roof, and he's like, "Oh, sometimes you have to give up something, to get something more." And I had this impression at that time. I was like, "We have to get rid of everything. We're going to sell everything, and we're going to go live in Texas, right?" And so
we took off. My mom was having some health complications. We decided we were going to go help her there.
Yeah, we were just going to go stay for a couple weeks.
We were going to stay to help my mom get through a surgery. That was our first test.
Yes.
And literally right after we left, the lockdowns hit. It was within a month of us leaving. So my mom's surgery got canceled. We ended up living on a homestead in Texas in an unfinished cabin. I mean, it was finished partially, but not for a family of 7. We lived there.
By finished partially, I mean there was no toilet.
No bathroom.
No.
We can share more
shower.
of those adventures. We've never shared those adventures.
We did have electricity. That was cool. And there's no other room. So it's literally, when I say one room, it's not like a bedroom. It's you're imagining a bedroom or something else. I mean, a single space that we all lived in for the first couple months. And then we built the addition.
Built an addition, built a bathroom.
And built a bathroom, but with some help and everything else, obviously. We didn't do it alone. But
so that was 6 whole months we were there. And right when they started easing restrictions, we took off again. We went back to Virginia to enjoy our summer with our family. And we really were on the road for that entire year.
Yes.
We were going to Airbnbs. The cool thing is we were visiting family.
Yeah.
We saw all of our family that year, and we've continued that ever since.
I
That's
come from a
something-
family of 7.
Yes, so
and
cousins are a big deal to
yeah,
our
we got
kids.
a lot of cousins.
So those were relationships we're able to
30
focus
or so.
on. Another door.
I'll get it.
Okay.
I'll get it. I'm way less exciting than you.
So that's how we started on our journey of traveling, and we did spend a year. The last year, we rented for a year in Utah. We did some more business stuff out there, and then we were ready to go again after our rental. Our oldest is 17, so we have what we feel like is one real year left with him, and we wanted to make the most of that. So
Yes.
here's where this account is about, that we decided to start telling sharing our story here.
Yeah.
About our travels and how we make travel possible, choices we make in our lives to make that possible, to be together as a family, to nurture our family relationships and our relationships with
Right.
our other family, and has been through travel. And also,
I was just to say there's a lot we've discovered along the way, right?
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people are like just getting into homeschooling like the last couple of years, and they're like, it's so hard, and it's like, yeah, I understand. We went through that like 12 years ago.
We've done every
right?
curriculum out
like
there.
we've done every curriculum that we've ever that you could ever possibly think of, and after a long time, we feel like we figured out like the way to do it where everyone's happy and we're happy, and it's just like elevated our lives to like a certain standard that we feel like everyone else could have. And I get like super sad every time I see a post where like someone's giving up, or they're like they've figured out like that life can't be free or whatever, this kind of stuff, and we're like, no, like we can figure out how to live. If we can
doesn't
figure out
mean
this,
it's not hard.
yeah, it's gonna be really hard. And again, we've been doing this for a long time, right? So like, I know a lot of people like, well, we've just started working from home. I've been working from home since like 2005.
Before it was
right?
cool.
So way before
Before
it was
lockdowns,
cool.
maybe.
It wasn't cool at all. But like it's something that we've just like figured out how to do, right? And like it came from nothing too. Like I had a political science background, right? It was like, I want to go to school for political science, and then like just sort of like happily trip into everything, right? So and by trip into it, I just mean like study
Work
something
really hard
and work
study
really
and learn
really hard
and build.
right? And do. And then after that, like everything else kind of like resolves itself, like all your problems. I mean, there's a lot of stress and strife you go through to get to that, but I mean, it just, and that continues, like that doesn't end, but at least we're together and we're happy and we're not having to like, slave away and
we have
in
as
some
much time
office
together as
or
possible.
whatever, So I don't know. That's the way I view life.
So that's what we've got going on right now. So you'll hear a lot about homeschooling. You'll hear a lot about entrepreneurship. You hear a lot about our travels because we are on the road right now. We're currently, I don't think we've told everybody yet, we're in Vegas currently, Las Vegas. We have family here, and we'll give you more tips. It's a great time of year to be here.
Yes.
Expense-wise,
it's like no one else who goes to Vegas on Thanksgiving, like no one, right? So because of that, like there's a huge glut of like hotel rooms and everything else like that. So you can find
which
like
means good deals for you.
super great deals, like cheaper than any rent we could ever find. And the best part about that is it's still not like super winter. So we're going to be going to Utah next week, and we're kind of scared of that because it's snowing like crazy.
We'll have a snowy Christmas, and we'll see how much we like it.
We'll see how much we like it.
Next after that will probably be Florida. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. After there was a long winter last year, and like after that long winter, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like keep chasing warm weather. So
we have an
today's
asthmatic
like
in our family,
64 or something
and that
like
had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah. So our second to youngest, he's had asthma since he was like 1.5, and it's been really bad since he was like 1.5. Like he's been hospitalized a number of times for it. It went away for like 2 years. 3 years, and came back after he had RSV. And RSV in Utah is like, everyone gets it. Like it's just a thing that like happens. I don't know if it's the mountain air. I don't know what it is. But it's because you have that inversion that like pushes everything down.
So that was another thing that sparked our
we were inside again for like 8 months straight. Like he couldn't. Anytime he basically tried doing anything, moving, he'd have like a crazy asthma attack. So. Anyway, yeah, and we've tried every diet thing possible, and like,
and it does help.
It does help a lot, but again, when you're that bad,
there's
just certain things that, especially like RSV, like because we went to the doctor, and anyway, they're like, hey, this is triggering something like an impulse. So, okay.
So we are currently.
I talk a lot too. I apologize.
And we're both ADD, so get ready. So
Sagittarius, highly ADHD, and can't figure out why they can't stick around somewhere.
Can't stick on topic. So, we jump all over.
We do jump all over.
Okay, so we are homeless currently, if you're wondering. We do not have a home base, so that's the other part of our story. We are on the road traveling. We bought a big van. You'll see that. We'll tell more about that and all these things because that's made this possible in a happy way and not no one getting a long way.
Our 15-year-old just joined.
She's with her cousins.
She's with her cousins right now, and probably so embarrassed.
No, never. Anyway, so we're traveling on the road, but another one of our goals is to create a home base. So another part of our story that we'll be sharing is we are building a home base in Texas. So I actually am from Texas. Brett's from Virginia. And so we have property, we have land in Texas that we're going to be building a home on. And I don't mean like we're going to call and check on how the builders are doing building our home.
You can call and check on me if you want.
We are the builders.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we wanted to do as a family is we wanted to utilize this land that we have and build a home base and have a place to go.
Yeah.
In between our travels.
So we bought a portable sawmill.
Yep. We're going to do it ourselves.
We're going to be milling wood on the land and build from that wood that's on the land. So we've started that process. Yes.
So we're done with chapter 1, what we're calling chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
It's going to be in phases because it's all we can handle. So we'll be sharing that in the next month or so.
Because we are back in that cabin temporarily. So we're trying to figure out how to survive.
Yeah. So you'll see that here too. So that's who we are. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And now, should we talk about Bigfoot, number 3?
If you want.
We're ready to go
we can talk
number
about Bigfoot. All right, number 3. First, I want to dispel...
If you have any questions about what we're talking about, what we've talked about so far, put them in the comments.
Yes.
And we'll go live again and be a little more focused if maybe you guys keep us under control and it's not just us.
So I do want to dispel some things first, right? So first of all...
Not everyone may have seen. So if you haven't seen, go to our feed and check our reel. Brett did a reel posting about like a tiny snippet of our Bigfoot experience. This happened our first time back in Utah.
Yeah. So the footage is out there, but it's not the good footage, and I'll kind of explain a little bit about that, right? So, first of all, we're not Bigfoot hunters.
We're not Bigfoot.
That's not our thing. It literally happened by accident. So
he found us.
Yeah, he found us. We didn't find him. I will show you the weather that day. Hold on, I have it on here. I don't know how well you can see it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
So the story is Brett was outside.
It was look at that. This is that's that day that peaks all the way down. It was the coldest day of the year by far, right? That line down there, by the way, is 0 degrees. Like that was the high that day. I think was 8, right? So our car battery died because it got really, really cold, right? So it got really, really cold. The car battery was dead, and this was like in the morning. So everyone's like, oh yeah, it was a hoax, you know?
Yeah, we've had lots of comments. Some say it nicer than others, but people think it's a fraud.
They don't usually say it very nice.
Yeah, they don't say it very nice.
No. First of all, it was like 4 degrees. No one in their right mind at all is going to be up on a mountain like 4 degrees. Like
we weren't on the mountain either. So Brett's below the mountain on the road, having his car jumped. Yeah. And he looks up. You can see in the video.
We're just bored because we're like waiting for the car to charge, you know? And so like you start doing it and it just takes a while because my battery's like really, really dead. So my friend and I are sitting out. So his sister lived like what, two houses down, right? So he came over just to like help jump the car, right? So we're sitting on the bumper and we're like looking, I'm like, he's like, bro, there's like someone up on the mountain. I'm like, oh yeah, there is. I'm like, man, that dude's really tall. And I'm tall myself. I'm like 6'6". So I was like, that dude's really tall. So I noticed like tall things, right? So I'm like, man, that guy's super tall. And he's like, yeah, he's like mega tall. He's like, and then he stood up. He was like, it was like they were like sitting down or whatever. So he stood up, right? And I was like, bro, he's taller than that freaking tree right there. And so then we're like just kind of like freaking out. And I was like,
all black.
Yeah, it was like
this black mass.
Yes, and I was like, no signs of like anything. Like you couldn't see like face, like gloves, like nothing. It was just like furry, right? Like this big furry. I thought, was it a bear? Because we do have bears up there, right? And it was a really cold day, so I was thinking maybe they come down. I don't know what, right? So then I asked my daughter who was with me, I was like, hey, go grab my cell phone, right? So she goes and grabs the cell phone and starts like going live right there on Facebook. I was like, she's like, what do I do? I was like, start recording. I was like, go live. So she goes live, right? And so it's recording, and and then I'm just kind of like doing this thing where I'm like zooming and like, going through it. I'm like comparing like the size of like, So the neighbor across the street, who's like right on the mountain, right? They have a door, and I know, like the door height is like 7.5 feet, right? So I'm like, there's the door. I was like, there's them, like way higher, you know. So
Also,
anyway,
just like moving, like not like do.
yeah, but like moving up the mountain like really easily
Yes.
with huge steps. And I'm like, that's not normal. I was like, if anyone's ever tried, and by the way, that's not like, that is a steep mountain. No one's like walking up
Steep
that
and
mountain.
snowy
Like
and
it's straight up mountain. It's like this, okay? You're not just walking up it. It's not an easy thing to do. In fact, we tried going back
And it
the
was
next,
packed
like
snow
that
as
day, and like I couldn't make it up at all. My two friends made it up partway, but we never made it up that far, right? So it's not like some easy thing to do, right?
So Brett's like, I think that's Bigfoot.
yeah, so I'm like laughing about it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, bro, it's Bigfoot. But everyone's like, whoa, if it's Bigfoot, why'd you stop recording? Okay, well, I had to jump my car, and the whole reason I'm jumping my car is my parents were coming in from the
He
airport.
was late picking them up from the airport.
Yes, so I had to go pick them up, right? So it wasn't like, well, I had to like tell my mom and dad, you know, like, hey, you gotta hang out for
Sorry,
a while.
I gotta hunt Bigfoot.
I gotta track Bigfoot on the mountain. That's not gonna fly. So
She wants to be next to Bigfoot.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I'm like,
But it's a thing, y'all.
It's a thing. I don't know. So anyway, it's a thing that happened to us. I wasn't like
Catching
some
Bigfoot is
all of a
thing.
sudden like the guy on History Network with the big hair talking about how aliens made the whole world. Maybe, but just kidding. Just kidding. So, but anyway, it was
Do we
a
know
crazy
for
deal.
sure if it was Bigfoot? Who knows? Do
I
we
don't
know
know.
what it is? We don't.
I have no idea.
Anytime,
And the footage is really
The
good.
footage is really good.
So-
Anytime we show friends, because you better believe it, if you're going to see Bigfoot, your kids are going to tell everyone.
Yes.
So anytime, like, we leave the room 1 second, wait,
We
I
come
heard
back
this on
in,
Bigfoot.
and it's like, so you
The
saw
first
Bigfoot?
thing
I'm
about
like,
our
oh,
family.
yeah, okay. And they're like, let me see. So I always show everyone that
Everyone wants
footage.
to see it.
But
And
we
no
have
one
the
can
raw.
explain it.
We have the raw footage, right?
You can see, like, long arms. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's either like Rudy Gobert in like a ghillie suit or something like that, or it was something else. Who knows? Or it's Bigfoot. Who knows?
But Bigfoot people are really nice. Like, and it's like a whole movement.
Yeah, it is a movement.
So-
but we figured that out, like, because they came to our door.
So this is how we know. Brett posted the footage, and
yeah, and then
you wanna share that
yeah, a
part?
friend was like, "Hey, can you make it live so I can share this?" So or public, I mean, sorry. So like, you make it public. So yeah, I'll make it public. So I made it public, and he shared it, right? And it went out to a whole bunch of different people, right? So he actually made like a little video of it himself too, and that went around. And it got
he
like
came to search. They went the next day to search.
yeah. Well,
So, yeah.
so someone came to the door, right? And
We
he
had
was
one
like,
person come to the door after this happened, and he shook. Yes,
yeah, he
shake
shook
your
my
hand.
yes.
Right.
He's like, "Can I shake your hand?" And I'm like, "All right, sure, whatever." And then he was like, "Hey, just let you know, I was in your shoes, and I wasn't a Bigfoot hunter either, and like they took my name, and they like, like I haven't been able
He
to
said it
work
ruined his
since, like
life.
it ruined my life completely, So he's like, you
Which
might want to
scared
keep it
us.
on the lowdown. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
crap. I was like, okay, let's keep it on the lowdown. And not only that, but like we were like, wait, how'd you find out? Like, he's like, oh, I can
How'd
tell
you
on the
find
video
it?
where this is,
So-
I was like, oh crap.
After that, we had so many people show up at our door.
Yes.
And we were even renting at the time. So, like, our
And
kids
one time
called
we were
us,
at
they're
work.
being babysat.
Yes.
And they're like, people keep stopping by. They want to know. They're yelling from the car, is this real? Like, we had people just figured it out. We didn't share our location, our address.
Yeah,
We didn't
and I'm
have it
like,
listed.
I've
We're
got
just
young
renting.
teenage daughters. Like, I don't want some,
We just doesn't
rando
matter.
showing up at
Any-
our house.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we would like keep our blinds closed, but this went on for
A long time.
actually even after we left, we heard from
People,
the owners.
yeah, that
that it was
people are
still
still
happening.
that people are still coming by and asking about it. And so, yeah, like I was like, hey, can you just keep my name out of it, And so they called me Provo Man. But it got like nationally syndicated, and so all of my friends started calling me. They're like, "Bro, I think I just saw you on the news."
From
I'm
other states.
like other
My
states.
aunt,
Yeah, they're like, "We just saw you on the news." I'm like, "No, yeah, okay, yeah, that was us." And then it was like Travel Channel reached out, and they're like, "Hey, we want to do a thing off of your footage, And they're like, "We'll give you $300." And I was like, for the original footage. I was like, original footage, $300. I was like, no, sorry, you're a company that makes $350 to $500 million a year. I was like, you can do more than $300, right? I was like, especially, I was like, no one else has ever seen this uncompressed stuff. Like, because there's a compressed version that like
He was
Facebook puts out,
negotiating.
and there's like an uncompressed version, right? Which is the only one on our phone, right? And I'm like,
but it went back and forth like what?
yeah,
2
and everyone
emails?
was saying like this is the best footage that's ever been ever been out there, right? I was like, nah. I'm like, that's fine. I was like, do it for $1,000, and I'll make it a deal, right? And then they wrote back like, well, how about 500? All right, last offer I can do is 750. And I just never responded ever again.
Didn't care.
And then all of a sudden, I get phone calls like, I don't know, like a month later or something. They're like, oh my gosh, I just saw you on the show on this travel channel.
Post the name
using my name, everything, right? And I'm like, whoa. I was like, I didn't give them permission at all. I was like, they're using my footage, but they just grabbed it off of my Facebook, And I was like, that's not okay. Like, if you know anything about like copyright law, it's like, that's not okay,
But
it is what it is, right? I wasn't like, well, this is the end of the world, but I was like, you know what, though? I was like, the one thing I will hold on to is that footage of like that uncompressed footage, like no one else has seen. And I was like, you know what? We'll have our own following, and we'll just like share it to them, And so it's like, and I don't know. Like,
it's part of our story. It's just another fun, crazy adventure that's happened to our family.
Yeah.
That we'll share with you guys simply because it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Who knows how to explain it? We can't explain it. There are actually YouTube videos of people trying to explain it, which those are hilarious. And I feel like it's been kind of a good lesson to our kids because we know we didn't fake this.
Yes.
But other people know that we did, and they.
Oh yeah, for sure. They even had one. The worst one was like, you can tell that it's a toy that like they.
Here's how they did it.
This is how they did it.
They took a string.
They took a string and dangled this thing. I'm like, what?
Anyway,
I'm like, bro, like you're giving way too much credit.
It's a fun part of our family story, so we'll talk about periodically. Let us know if you have any other questions.
But yeah, but since then it's made me interested in like, I'm like, hey, because like I can't explain it,
and no one can. No one that's seen the raw footage can explain it. So we're excited to show you guys that.
I want to believe.
Okay,
that's a X-Files thing.
Anyway, so that's part of the Bigfoot story. We'll release that footage soon. I don't know how we'll do it.
Yeah, I said 100,000. Literally, everyone's there's so many people like angry at me. Like, you're like, you said 100,000. I'm like, I literally just came up with the number like up the top of my head. I was like, what should I do? Like 10,000, 5,000? I was like, screw it, I'll make 100,000, right? But everyone's like, oh, he's like that fiendish plot. I was like, I don't care.
So we'll release it at some point.
I'll do it at some point. Like, come on, I'm not like, this isn't like some ultimatum. Like, like give me 100,000 or not. It's just like whatever. I don't care. Like, I'll put it up. I just made up a number, like made everyone really angry. So that I suggested 100,000. So I am sorry that I suggested 100,000. We'll do it. We'll do it some other thing later.
So that's us. We're happy you're joining us. A little bit of us. You'll see so much more the time to come. We're in Vegas right now, so we'll be sharing more of that. Let us know what would be beneficial to you if you're interested in having more time freedom with your family.
Yeah.
And we'd love to share.
I've taught like entrepreneurial classes. I've run major ad campaigns. I've managed tens of millions in ad campaigns myself. Done tons of developing and everything else like that. So we've done a lot of interesting things. I feel like we're just now getting into like building, and I've been studying a lot of framing stuff. So
just like this live, our life is all over the place.
It's just like this live. Our life is all over the place. But we like it that way. Honestly, like, I don't know, like you get too not over the place, and I don't know, life gets kind of boring, I feel like, that was like a part of the reason like to leave Virginia. I think it was just like, well, we've done it all. And a million times.
Never.
And yeah, you feel like I don't know.
We had big
explore,
plans and dreams and visions that we're chasing after. So
this is true. So
that'll always be an aspect of our lives and
that's
our kids' lives.
Yep.
They're like us.
They're a lot like us. Yep. But yeah, I mean, you can do it. Like you can homeschool 5 kids. You can live free. You can kind of make your own whatever. And it's possible. And it's not like, I know it might seem like an impossible dream to some people, but it's possible. We're doing it. It's not easy, but I feel like the benefits way outweigh any of the negative, right? So anyway, that's us. So thanks for joining us. We're also going to be doing tons of giveaways.
Oh, yeah. We like to have fun, so we want this account to be fun.
Yes.
We got our first giveaway up. It's for a beauty face thing. It's actually really amazing. I talk about it in the reel on our feed, so check that out for our first giveaway.
Yeah, it's a company that I work for called Brandless.
Yep.
So.
And if that's not a thing that you're into, we'll have
we got a lot
other
more
fun stuff. So.
Yeah, we bought a blender too. So we've got that coming. And we've got some, do you want to talk about them? Or not? Just save them? We'll save them. We got some fun stuff though. And then we'll have fun ways of doing it too, right? Not just like comment and blah, 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 but we kind of make it like
We
an
just want to
adventure.
have fun. That's all. It'll be fun.
We make it up as we go
Yep.
along, if you can't tell.
You'll be surprised.
But yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope
Thanks,
you
guys.
keep joining us. And
Yeah.
we can get into food. Okay.
Can't tell them everything.
We can't
at
tell them
once.
everything at once, huh? I
Let's
don't
let
know.
'em go. Fred doesn't
We'll let you
go.
go. I know. I just can't let it go. I can't. There's just too much out there to talk about.
Yeah. We'll be back on again, but let us know if you want to hear about something else next time. Any questions you have, we'll answer.
Small intro to your new neurotic chair.
Bye.
Bye.